the title Executive Secretary Anti-Corruption Network. Yes. And if you have been on Facebook page and Twitter handle as well, you would have seen some people asking that what is Dino's problem with anti-corruption? He used to be one of them. And he used to be there in the house until things fell apart. Or put it differently, if you had won re-election to the house, would you be siding with the people now?
Yeah, basically I want to appreciate the opportunity to address Nigerians once again in the course of our nation's history. But basically, anyone who is saying if I was in the house, will I be doing what I'm doing now, definitely must be speaking from a very...
Would you be protesting against yourself?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll be speaking from a very myopic perception, because even when I was in the house, I moved a motion against the sitting president, who was the national leader of my party then, late President Umaru Yar'Adua, when he went to borrow 300 billion naira from World Bank. I moved a motion on the floor and got that motion passed, and that money returned. And you will also recall that when I moved motions against corruption, against the leadership of the House and Dimeji Bankole, the National Executive Council, the whole executive neck of the PDP, called me and asked me to withdraw from courts. And I refused to withdraw from court until the matter was decided. So anyone actually saying that I'm just doing this now do not know my history. I was incarcerated during the Abacha's government for the same cause. And I was running an NGO before coming to the National Assembly. This is the National Association of Democratic Youths, with our office in number 5 Katsina Road in Kaduna. So it's not a new phase. It's only for those maybe who are just following us now with the trend of Twitter and all that. Many people are just... they started following Dino Melaye up, so they may not understand what my past is. But even in the National Assembly, I will humbly say, with due respect, I will say no legislator moved the number of anti-corruption motions I moved on the floor of the House that even saved Nigeria billions of naira, including the airport runway contract that was awarded to Julius Berger. And even the dualization project of the airport road, I moved a motion against it. Where the MD of Julius Berger came and said it was typographical error. Yeah. I know I mean, there were a lot of seductions, there were a lot of trying to persuade you, trying to bribe you, but I moved ahead with all my anti-corruption motions. So anyone saying what I'm doing now is new, the person would actually need to check his history. But being that is me, what I'm doing is what I think best I would do.
It's not for what of any other thing to do.
Not
because we are short out of...
Because I've been doing it. Because I've been doing it. And the truth of the matter is that I was not short out of any... Like I told you, what I've been into non-governmental organizations before even coming to the National Assembly. So coming to the National Assembly, I did my best. I did my possible best in fighting corruption, and you know where it landed me. I was beaten, I was suspended for 11 months, I was not paid, but I held on to the struggle. And because in an unjust society, silence is a crime. It's not about being the National Assembly or not. I want to invest in the lives of my grandchildren that I may never know. I want to structure their lifestyle from now. And what we are doing is to build a just and egalitarian society. It is not a matter of whether I'm in government or outside government. Anyway. Today, if I find myself in government, but definitely not this government, I will still protest.
Anyway, good to have you on the side of the people.
The pleasure is always mine.
Good to have somebody at least hold himself out as a people's general to lead them in these so many battles. All right, now that we have you here, there's something that it's been a pending issue really for a very long time. No member of the National Assembly has been forthcoming. Even the ones that claim to be your friend will never tell you how much a National Assembly member is worth in terms of salaries and emolument. Why should somebody who claims to be a representative of the people not be forthcoming on such issues, for example?
You see, the truth of the matter is that the salaries and emoluments of National Assembly members is not a secret thing. We have the Revenue, Fiscal Mobilization and Mobilization Commission, and they fix the salaries and emoluments of National Assembly members.
Okay.
And it is open.
Yes.
And with the freedom of information bill,
yes,
every Nigerian is entitled to writing the fiscal and revenue mobilization to ask or test it even on the National Assembly. Write the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Are you aware that there is a court judgment?
Yes.
Given to lead up? It's an NGO.
Yes.
a federal high court in Abuja here said that it is an open issue and that the clerk of the National Assembly should make available to lead up the details of all that members of the National Assembly.
Yes. The truth
up
of
to
the matter,
now, nothing has happened.
then they should go back to get an enforcement order. If there's a court judgment, it's not, this is public fund. And these people, including myself when I was there, were public servants. I was the first in the history of that house to raise the issues of our monuments. I was the first to expose even what it is, though I almost got torn into pieces. But the truth of the matter is it's not a secret matter.
And that's why, because we are here, that's why I'm taking you back to that issue. Because we made so many disclosures then that National Assembly members were getting so many allowances that if you look at what the Revenue Mobilization and Physical Allocation Commission publishes, you will not find those allowances
What happened was I was it was our group, the progressive-minded legislators, that exposed the facts that monies meant
for capital projects
was being diverted by the leadership of the House, as it were then. And we're now saying that if monies are meant for capital projects, they should be for capital projects. And if those capital projects were not carried out, the money should be returned at the end of the financial year back to the confines of the treasury of government. But what is happening is that the leadership at that time was misappropriating these funds by buying fictitious items. They buy torchlight for 18,000. You know, we raised all those issues at that time. So, but what I'm telling you is that now I'm not in the National Assembly. I wouldn't even bet on what a member of the National Assembly is getting. But you will recall that I raised check of some excesses and raised the check and took it to the Accountant General of the Federation to say, these monies are not my monies. At that time.
They were already paid to you.
Say again?
They were already paid to you. But you raise a check to refund it, or what I said?
What I'm saying is that excesses of what I do not, what that are not mine. For example, even including the television that was bought, the car seats, the seat massagers and all that, I didn't collect it. I returned them back because I know that they were fictitiously bought. They were bought to perpetuate corruption and atrocities, and that is actually what generated our problem with the Meji Bank holiday. So I want to say that beyond all this, I think NGOs, civil societies, need to carry out internal investigation on their own, just like we're doing now. And the National Assembly will not be an exception, despite the fact that it's my primary constituency. We are carrying out investigations to find out the corruption, because the National Assembly is supposed to be the police of every democracy. And if the National Assembly is corrupted, then automatically it will be very, very impossible to check corruption. Like I speak to you right now, in the budget of 2012, in the budget of the presidency in 2012, the office of Mr. President, the money appropriated for newspapers, if the president must justify that amount of money, meaning that the president must read every day 574 newspapers every day to justify the amount of money that was injected in the budget for newspapers. Who passed that budget? The National Assembly. Why should you pass such a budget? For the maintenance of the building office of Mr. President is 1.8 billion in the budget, in the breakdown of the presidency's budget this year. Who passed that budget? You say that the presidency is corrupt, but the National Assembly passed that budget. How can you pass 1.8 billion naira for the maintenance of a building? How much does it cost to build the entire building? For the renovation of the State House the State House in Marina, it's about 300 and something million. The kitchen of the president, even already there are loans in the presidency. Already the presidency, there's nothing new happening, but in the budget you still find money for what I don't know what they call this
expansion. That's something like expansion of the car park.
The expansion of that is 1.7 billion. Then last year there was money about 160 million for the purchase of buses, 2 years ago, there was 160 million for the purchase of buses. This year, there's 161 million naira for the buses. Where are those buses? So, if the National Assembly, I put the blame on the doorstep of the National Assembly because they are the watchdog. We are supposed to be the watchdog of every democracy. Because every legislator has 3 basic primary responsibilities and assignments. 1, the act of lawmaking through motions and bills. The act of representation, defending your constituency and making sure you get your fair share of the national cake. The most fundamental and most important is the act of oversight functions over the MDAs. Because if you oversight the MDAs, when I was the chairman of the House Committee on Information and National Orientation, we got billions of naira refunded back to government coffers. In fact, I had to call back the likes of Sarumi, who was Minister of Information 11 years ago. Because there were equipment worth billions of naira, millions, hundreds of millions that was supposed to be purchased by the Nigerian printing company. Then I had to call Sarumi and invited those contractors 11 years ago. I had to invite back Frank Iweke. All of them, I called them back. And when the contractors came, I asked them, where are these equipments? They said they are on the sea. How can equipment be on the sea for 11 years? But I had to force them. Those equipments landed. The other contractor that refused to bring the money, I took them to EFCC. Unfortunately, I don't know what has happened with the issue of with their case in the EFCC then. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's like a parastatal of the PDP. It's not effective. So corruption is the bane of our development. And the only way to check corruption in Nigeria is for the National Assembly to carry out our oversight functions adequately. And if and there's no MDA in this country that is not being oversighted by the National Assembly. Yes. And if you carry out periodic oversight functions with every sincerity of purpose, of heart and commitment, with the fear of God, there is no way they will be stealing. In fact, all these probes you are seeing, all these investigations by the National Assembly is as a result of the failure of the committees to carry out proper oversights.
So doesn't this boil down to the capacity of the National Assembly and the members in the first place? For example, particularly in the area of budgeting, that the National Assembly is seriously handicapped. What you have is a situation whereby every year the budget is produced in a way that you already have templates that have been designed by civil servants. All you just do is just throw bodies into these templates.
It's even beyond templates. The National Assembly pass budgets. They always pass budgets without details. How on earth can you, if you call any member of the National Assembly today, they don't have the details of the presidency's budget. Today, about 3 billion have been earmarked in this year's budget for the travels of Mr. President. Is he the supervisor of the world? Nigerians are now servicing the international jet-setting lifestyle of the elites. If you go to our airports today, as a result of corruption, there are more private jets than commercial planes. If the National Assembly will do their work the way they are supposed to, 2.3 billion naira in their appropriation in 2011, I was in the National Assembly then, we appropriated 277 billion for subsidy. The federal government ended up spending 2.3 trillion. The National Assembly, we are protesting as soon as they resume.
Yeah, if you opt
as soon as they resume, we are protesting. We want to ask them, and we are going to court, to say, 277 billion appropriated, 2.3 trillion spent. Have you asked Mr. President, where did he get, is it an offense to start with, for you to spend outside appropriation? If it's an offense, have you asked Mr. President where he got that money? The excess of over 2 trillion to spend. If he borrows it, in the Constitution and in the Debt Management Act is clear that you cannot borrow without the approval of the National Assembly. Now they've gone to China again to borrow money. The National Assembly did not ratify that. And it is clear that even the conditions and service of any loan must be determined by the National Assembly. That is not happening. So we need the National Assembly to do a job the way it's supposed to. If the National Assembly will stand on our foot to do exactly what they are supposed to do, then
doesn't that boil down to what I said earlier on? Because if you have a National Assembly where the capacity is there, even before any executive agency crosses the mark, the red flag is already there. They're already waving the red flag. By the time the Senator Bukola Saraki raised the issue of the subsidy sometime in August or September last year,
you know why it's impossible?
We had already spent far above what was budgeted for the entire year.
Even what is budgeted this year is used now in servicing last year's debt. I have details.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the problem is...
And the National Assembly has also not raised...
The problem is beyond capacity. Let me tell you, most of... I'm sorry, I was a member of the National Assembly, but I fear no soul, I only respect souls. We have no any other country to call our own but Nigeria, so we have to be honest and factual about these issues, even at the risk of our lives. Some characters in the National Assembly do not have the integrity to push and combat some of these issues because one way or the other, maybe they've soiled their hands in the past. Why some of us?
Even in the present, as in the misapplication of capital votes, for example.
Agreed.
Because it will be known to people in the executive too that the National Assembly does not have capacity to spend this money. Let us watch how they will spend it. And then they see you where you misapply the funds.
The truth of the matter is that once you agree as a National Assembly to pad the budgets, there's something called budget padding. Once you pad the budgets, then automatically you have no, because they say he who must come to equity must come to equity
do so with clean hands.
Yeah. Today, if you raise a matter on the floor of the National Assembly, except you are honest, the federal government immediately will raise a kite to tell you that this is your... The only reason why some of us are still talking is because we have been investigated up. In fact, maybe the only thing they're yet to find out about me is perhaps where my placenta was buried. I have never done government contracts in my life, either at state or federal level. Because if you want to do this, if you really, really want to stand upright, you must not compromise. But it's even beyond that. Today, the National Assembly, we are going to encourage them. We are going to support them to start doing the right thing as soon as they resume. Because we are going to compel them to carry out, just like the issue of this 5,000 naira RAM that is happening right now.
All right. Okay.
Immediately that issue of 5,000 naira was made by Sanusi. Immediately, federal government now, in order to endorse it, now committed another illegality by asking an illegal body, because the economic team have no legal backing. In fact, they are not known to the laws of
like the Federal Economic Council in the United States of America.
They are not known. They are alien to the laws of our land. Then how can you now bragly come that the Economic Council have who is in the Economic Council? Dangote, is he an economic expert? Otedola, is he an economic expert? In the real sense, today go to the United States of America, Mr. Benga, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ross Perot, they are not members of the American Economic Council. They cannot be. Today, Dangote is a member of the economic team. You are giving him an advantage over his competitors outside. Because once he knows that policies that will favor his government or will not favor his business, to say, he has an added advantage over other competitors. So that is why they are monopolizing the industry. So the truth of the matter is that it is, if not because Nigeria is not, we are not serious-minded people, a lot of litigations should have been going on that you have given Dangote and Otedola advantage over other businessmen. People who are economists, who will discuss economic issues and advise on economic matters, they are not businessmen. They are in the research institutes, they are in the universities, they are busy researching and working. What is the academic qualification of Dangote, who, if you any moron in this country that is given the same opportunity that you have given to Dangote and Otedola will make 3 times the money they are making? They get free waivers, they get free tax holidays, they get bank guarantees by government, they get free debt certificates, and of course, fronting for presidents and people. We are coming out with that task. We are ready to go to any length to make sure that we build a new Nigeria.
All right.
We cannot continue like this. These are the people advising on economic issue. Does Dangote have a degree in economics or in financial management? Or just because you are open to opportunities, then automatically you become an economic whiz kid? We cannot continue like that as a country. We are going to take that decision, and that even, you say, coordinating minister of the economy is not known to the laws of this country. It is not backed up by any act of the parliament.
All right. Otunba,
yes.
you are getting heated up. Just calm down.
No,
let's take a quick break. At least for him to calm down a little bit, and we'll be right back. All right, the program is in Focus Nigeria, and Otunba Dino Melaye is in the House, former member of the House of Representatives, Executive Secretary, Anti-Corruption Network. Let me quickly read some tweets. Plenty of comments on our Facebook page. Well, let me start with the tweets first. Melaye, tell it all. Nigerian masses are behind you. That's for Larry. Mohammed Ibrahim says, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. Dino does not have integrity. He's an example of what is wrong with Nigeria. That's where I started from. Probably maybe Mohammed didn't listen to you.
Yeah. No, it's a normal misconception that anybody in government is a thief. But they forgot that even when we were in the PDP, we were not as dangerous as the people that were there. Some of us have integrity, and I'm challenging anybody who has any negative information on Dino, or where Dino stole from, or where Dino got corrupted, or where Dino even did any government contract, so please publish it.
RT Luca says, too many revelations coming from Dino. This country is finished. Stephen Degbe, too many revelations. Okay, all right. The only investigation that has not been conducted over me is where my placenta is buried. Oh, Folani is tweeting. All right. So many people are just taking quotes from what you have said. This one I said EFCC is parasite of PDP. Dino Melaye, that's Stephen Edegbe. Fatima Kazim says, I agree with the host that this is corruption in the highest order. We need to strengthen the freedom of information system. Okay. Tisa Seth, I think that's the name. Tisa Seth says, what Dino is saying is the truth. He has been on the side of the people. The Lord is his strength. Okay. All right. I've read that. I may not agree with all Dino Melaye's protests, but we need someone like him to make a lot of noise so we can be informed. All right. let's get back. Let's leave the tweets alone.
Basically, you see, there's a lot of misconception by people of inordinate ambition, capricious manifestation, and reaction formation. People who believe that for everyone who is in government, then you are a thief. It's an erroneous impression. Because at times, for you to even change the system, you need to know the system. And not all of us who serve in the National Assembly actually are criminals. It is not true. You have reputable, responsible people in the National Assembly and even in government. But what I want to say in essence is that corruption is the bane of our development. And this particular government have refused to fight corruption. They are rather fertilizing corruption, they are massaging corruption, they are promoting corruption, and that is exemplified by their actions. This is the first time, Mr. Benga, in the history of Nigeria, that corruption have graduated from millions to billions, and now we are now hearing trillions. It's the first time in the history of this country.
And it's even been advanced that one of the reasons why we are introducing 5,000 naira is that corruption is now denominated in dollars.
That is it. No. The truth of the matter is that the very myopic, porous, and parochial argument of the central bank that they want to save 7 billion naira, that is the reason why they want to, they will be saving 7 billion naira by printing 5,000 naira notes. I have never seen an intellectually stagnant policy like that before. And this is the first time that you are having a central bank of Nigeria is having a policy that has no alternative. I am asking Sunusi Lamido, with his all self-acclaimed intellectual economic wizardry, what is because you can, if a doctor say, give this man Panadol, and we say no, Panadol, anytime he takes Panadol, it itches his body. The doctor must have an alternative to Panadol. So we are asking both the illegal economic thing and Sunusi Lamido, what is the alternative policy to the issue of 5,000 naira? We want to know. Then secondly, if you say you are trying to save 7 billion, we are aware that Nigeria is losing over 1 trillion annually to corruption and wastages, of which Central Bank of Nigeria is also part of that fraud, because all these oil thieves who have embezzled and stolen 2.3 trillion, their checks were raised by the Central Bank of Nigeria. All the oil marketers. Central Bank of Nigeria is part of the process that eventually release their money to the Federal Ministry of Finance. Why would the Central Bank of Nigeria have an internal mechanism to check if marketer A actually imported so liters of fuel, or of crude oil, or of refined products? Why not check if marketer B actually imported kerosene, what so before you pay? So automatically the Central Bank of Nigeria is part of the sharing formula of the corruption and loot that has invaded this country. This particular government is behaving as if they have no legacy intentions, they have no plan for the future of the Nigerian child, because we have never seen corruption with impunity being demonstrated like we are seeing now. Now, even those that have been indicted in the issues of corruption, they are now trying to kill the matter by bringing an awomolo. Now you can see what they've done. A few days ago, he said he sent some posers. We'll get to that one. Thank you. I don't want us to just jump. Let me just quickly read some tweets coming in as well. Dr. Chidu Joku says, Melaye is just an attention-seeking individual. No wonder he lost his relation. Saregan Elvin says, Dino had the best opportunity to make the difference in DG. Now he's just one of those ranters who call themselves activists. Those are villa tweets coming in now. I don't know about that. Orujekwe Chibuzo says, awesome. Learning so much about you. Dalu, okay. Dino Melaye is a product of the corrupt system. Just like to watch his comic display. That's Oweye Kolawole. What is this? What's the name? Folari. Expect a revelation of kind of worms. Okay. Sorry, I just missed it. Please, you need to discuss our leaders' security votes. Is it not a waste of money? Krista Victor is asking that. Okay, Ike Ederebadu says, Bega, apart from people like Melaye, it's good to also bring those in government, like ministers, to face the nation. We want to ask them questions. Of course, the minister was on this program just last week. And just before that time, we also had the director of the budget office also on this program, except if you have not been following us. Okay, so many cases of corruption. Let's go back to... Yeah, maybe just a statement, please, if you don't mind. Okay, all right. It is not possible for you to fight corruption, and corruption won't fight back at you. So all these agitations and blackmail and is part of the process. Because once you fight corruption, corruption will fight back at you. But unfortunately, they are wasting their time. Because by the time you attack Melaye, by the time you insult Melaye, you are only energizing us. Because we are resolute on exposing corruption and exposing the leadership of this country, that they must do the right thing. They must, as a matter of utmost necessity, they must do the right thing. We have no any other country to call our own other than Nigeria. And if I was fighting corruption in the house, and even got suspended for it, and it's the same thing I'm doing now, excuse me, and you are saying Melaye is corrupt and you cannot establish what he has done, then you are wasting your time. You are energizing us, you are quickening us, you are strengthening us, because we will not stop what we are doing. Okay. Let me take you back to one of the cases you fought while in the House, the case against the leadership of the House.
Are you surprised the way one of the cases has ended? A court ruled that rather than call Speaker Bankole to come and explain the issue of loan, the management of the National Assembly should have been called. And on the basis of that, the case was dismissed.
You see, I will not actually want to, it's not on a forum like this that I should actually be belittling our courts. But every Nigerian knows what is happening in our courts. We are just hoping that with the new CJN, maybe some of our justices and judges will become born again. It's actually laughable. Though one of the matters is still in court, and we are still following it up, but I cannot see where a corruption case established, and the judge is saying, yes, there was corruption. But this man is not to be held responsible. Instead, the management, who was the approving authority? Those contracts, they were awarded by the leadership of the House. And do you expect that a clerk of the National Assembly, who is answerable to a speaker, will say no to the instruction or directive of a speaker? We all knew what happened. Unfortunately, some of our courts have been commercialized. Consciences have been monetized. It's a dangerous and satanic phenomenon, but we will not get tired. This morning, we are filing a case. In fact, my lawyers are in court from here now. I'm going to sign the despondent. We are filing a case stopping, asking for an order of mandamus or asking for an ex parte order, stopping the national honors that is about to take place. In a civilized country, it won't happen. In America, 200 years of democracy, they've given national honors to less than 200 people. Nigeria, we have given to, I'm sure, close to about 30,000 already. In how many years? Cecilia Ebru is still carrying national honor. Tafa Balogun is still carrying national honor. Bode George is still carrying national honor. Then look at the list of even those that are to be given national honors again. And do you know that honors, awards, are supposed to be given after service? In this present national honors list, you have serving Supreme Court judges. You have serving Court of Appeal judges. According to their edict, according to their act, according to their tenets of operation or practice direction, that is patronage. The presidency and indeed the PDP, by their accepting those national honors, they have been patronized.
And I think there's something in the ICPC Act
too. It's not the ICPC Act.
That talks about,
it is the code of, it's chapter 6 of the Code of Conduct.
Okay.
Chapter 6 of the Code of Conduct is clear that serving public officers cannot take bribes, cannot take gratifications, cannot accept...
the section I'm referring to in the ICPC talks about chieftaincy titles.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
I think honors should also be part of it.
That is also applicable.
Yeah.
But the most apt is that chapter 6 of the of the Code of Conduct Act. How do you expect now that judge, a Supreme Court justice who has been given either OFR or whatever it is, now to antagonize the people?
Or the Inspector General of Police that has just been confirmed. You don't know how it's going to, where it's going to.
The Meji Bankole became Speaker of the House of Reps 2 weeks after he was given the third highest national honor of the country. Today, he's facing criminal charges in the court of law. You give national honors after evaluation and assessment of service rendered. You don't call a man and give him gold medal even before he runs the race. It is after running the race that you now assess who came first or second before you give. Today, there is a local government chairman who is not even known in the states to be given MFR on that list. Some of the chairmen that endorsed Jonathan in 2011, that Parapo political party that came out and said, we have endorsed President Jonathan, they are to be given national honors. They are on that list, this current list. So how do the award, the honor have lost honor? Nigerians are now already dishonorable people trying to give honor to dishonorable people. Democracy, instead of being government of the people, by the people, and for the people, is now becoming government of the greedy, by the greedy, and for the greedy. The thing is now Oluwole, National honors is now Oluwole. It has been monetized. It has been privatized. It has been commercialized. It has been personalized. That is why we are saying it should be stopped. Already, ex-convicts are carrying national honor. Reputable Nigerians are already disregarding and rejecting it. But Abiy Amila rejected it. Chino Achebe rejected it. At the time, Wole Soyinka rejected it. So if the honor is worth such value, people will not be rejecting it. So I expect the president not to use it as a means of patronage, or the PDP to use it as a means of patronage. They should suspend it and then ameliorate and palliate the process. Shagari, even as terrible as that government was, gave honor to Awolowo and withdrew. You give honor to reputable people. Today, Dangote, who became instantaneously rich, not as a result of hard work, but government patronage, is carrying the second highest national honor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, exclusively reserved for the Vice President and the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria.
And the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So you see this, honestly, Nigeria is now like a car being driven by a drunken driver. There is confusion and corruption is now... Look at somebody like Dezani Alice Madueke, Minister of Petroleum. She is the chairman of the board of NNPC. You say National Assembly, or specifically the House of Representatives, indicted NNPC and indicted PPRA. And she is the chairman of the board. And the president now sacked all the management team of NNPC. And also dissolved the board of NNPC. But left the chairman of NNPC, who is the minister of...
Because she's also wearing another cap.
Listen, who is also the minister of Petroleum.
Yes.
And you are saying that these people have been indicted, and she's the chairman. The box stops on her table. She also oversights PPRA. She's still sitting as minister. And we have precedents in this country. The Public Service Act is clear that once you have been indicted of corruption, even before investigation is concluded, you have to be suspended. Even when the vice president was, the present president was vice president, during the time of late Umaru Yar'Adua, the Minister of Health, Professor Grange, and Minister of State for Health, Gabriel Aduku, were erroneously indicted in a corruption case. Yar'Adua suspended them immediately. We remember Professor Fabian Osuji, former Minister of Education during Obasanjo's time. Immediately he was indicted, he was removed. You remember Wabara. Immediately he was indicted, he was removed. You remember Salisu Buhari. So it's a norm. But I am speaking to you. This woman is still sitting, and she's not just sitting. She's the first Minister of Petroleum in the Federal Republic of Nigeria that have no Minister of State. During Obasanjo's time, we had 4 ministers. Minister of State Gas, Minister of State Energy, Minister of State, and Special Advisor on Petroleum, Rilwan Lukman. But today, because of the satanic manifestations, because of the satanic intentions, because of the stealing and looting and corruption of the system that they are carrying out, she has no Minister of State, there is no Special Advisor. She is, even Abuja, that is just Ministry of Federal Capital, is not national, have Minister of State.
All right, let me just...
We cannot continue like this.
All right. Kelly Coco says, Dino Melaye right now, we really need people like Melaye to get things right in this country. Rujekwe Chibuzo says, it's not possible to fight corruption, and corruption don't fight you. Dino may have lost out before. If it is the price to get us a fighter, we are happy all the same. That's from Achievers. Okay. Future Made in Nigeria says, megalomania and gluttony is the problem of Nigeria. If you say Dino is corrupt, what have you done to stop corruption? Dino, please fire on. Okay. Dino, the answer to the issue you raised on CBN and his romance is that we lack professionalism in service.
Nepotism, that's correct.
Yeah. Separating the message from the messenger, Dino deserves commendation. That's Yusufu Bagudu. Okay, so many others. Let me just take you back to... There was an issue we raised earlier on.
Yes.
Farouk Gate or $10 Gate. I was as surprised as you when I read this expose.
Yes.
For me, this is the first time I will see a prosecuting team for a high-profile case like this discussing his case publicly, telling the defense that, look, these are the loopholes in my case against you, in case you don't know.
Yeah, let me inform Nigerians on that matter, and that's another very pathetic negativity of...
Even the good job that the SSS did is being ridiculed.
The truth of the matter is that already they have turned it to PDP family affair and they want to kill it. You will recall that I raised an objection and I cried out. Immediately, Awomolo was appointed.
The Attorney General denied it then that Chief Awomolo had not been named.
Thank you very much. But you can now see from even this paper you are reading that is the lead counsel in this case. We wrote the Attorney General of the Federation. I addressed a national press conference to say that Awomolo should not be given that responsibility. You know why? Integrated Oil went to court, suing the federal government and asking for an order of mandamus, asking the courts to stop the federal government from investigating her, to stop the federal government from arresting any of our officials, stop the federal government from asking them for refunding money.
On the subsidy issue.
On the subsidy issue. And the Minister of Justice gave Awomolo that case to handle. On behalf of the federal government. Somebody is saying, federal government, you cannot arrest us. Federal government, you cannot detain us. Federal government, you cannot even ask us to refund subsidy money. Then you go and defend federal government. Awomolo got to court. And they asked for 20 minutes for the lawyers of federal government and lawyers of integrated oil to go and discuss. They went out and discussed and came back. And Awomolo, on the floor of the court, adopted the position, the very position that integrated oil came to court with. Said they have no problem with it, the court should grant it. That was how integrated oil got that order. Awomolo was Tafa Balogun's lawyer in the case of corruption. At that time, Awomolo even said that the EFCC is an illegal body and they have no powers of arrest. Awomolo was Dimeji Bankole's lawyer. Awomolo was lawyer to the police pension scam. He was their lawyer. Awomolo was lawyer to the former instructor, chief instructor of the National Judicial Institute, Justice Umaru Eri, who was accused of embezzling 6 billion naira. Awomolo was his lawyer in court. I can name plethora of corruption cases that Awomolo was the lawyer. And a man who went to court to adopt the very position that one of the oil thieves took to court as a guest. He was supposed to be talking on behalf of me and you, on behalf of the federal government, to say you people must refund this money. But he went there and adopted a position. Today is the one to lead the federal government in the case of Farouk Lawal and Atodola. And not only that, he is now giving posers. And how can you, these posers, we are expecting these posers from the defense counsel of Farouk Lawal. But you, the federal government lawyer, already you are making the case complicated and impossible for us to even kickstart it. It's impossible for us to prosecute it.
One of the posers is the mental health, the health condition of Honorable Adams Jagaba.
Jagaba, yes. Not only that.
What do you think that has to do with this?
He was asking for where the money is.
The photocopy of the $620,000.
All these questions, all these posers, they are just to...
How many cameras the SSS use in this thing?
All those questions, those are cases that should be determined in court. Already, Farouk Lawal said he collected money, not bribe. And he collected that money to indict Otedola. And they forgot that Farouk Lawal is not the only one in this matter. There is the secretary of the committee who also collected money. They forgot that Farouk Lawal, after collecting money, went to the floor to withdraw the names of the two companies of Otedola from the lists. So there's a prima facie case.
Yeah. So all these questions that the prosecution is raising would not be necessary. Because all these questions boil down to is that there's no $620,000.
What Awomolo is doing there is like treating a patient of chemotherapy even before diagnosing cancer. He's taking Panadol for another man's headache. A defense is the defense that is supposed to be posing these questions, not him. But already by doing this,
and then leaking it to the press.
And leaking it to the press has justified my ab initio cry that don't give this case to Awomolo. Don't give this case to Awomolo. But now, the minister denied it. But today you can see that it's the same. It is a cartel. And this same Awomolo is leading a cabal of lawyers in INEC, where over 1 billion have been paid to them on electoral matter. And they, let me tell you, in INEC, there is no state that does not, INEC branch in each state that does not have a legal department with competent lawyers. Why do we use taxpayers' money to pay INEC lawyers? Including in Abuja, there is no state that does not have a legal department that are capable of prosecuting any electoral matter. Why bring the consortium of lawyers headed by Awomolo and spending about 1 billion naira on them? Already about 1 billion naira has been paid to them.
All right, we can't stop talking about corruption. Nigeria is just one edition of a program like this. Our time is up. The tweets are still flooding in. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's Dino Melaye. Let me just read this last one. Kelly Coco says, Dino Melaye, right on. We really need people like Melaye to get things right in this country. I think that's coming up his second time. Okay, let's just end it. Passing shot.
Yeah, my passing shot is that the president must become born again. Must fire who needs to be fired. Must exercise his powers and discretion in transparency and honesty. The president must remember that he will be judged by what he has done. Public service is also accountable not only on earth, but in heaven. But we will not stop. They can lock us up, they can maltreat us, they can arrest us. The other day they wrote me, they said they will come and kidnap my children, they will do this and that. We are not going to be disenchanted. We are not going to be disillusioned. The battle to build a new Nigeria, the battle to get rid of corruption is a battle of no retreat, no surrender. And I'm also asking you, finally, calling on Nigerians to come out of their cocoons. In an unjust society, silence is a crime. We cannot carry arms, never. But we believe in non-violent, peaceful struggle. Martin Luther King did it. So these people sitting down in the comfort of their mattresses and sofas, come out, both the rich and the poor. Let's salvage our country from these economic cankerworms and financial scavengers.
All right. Otunba Dino Melaye has been our guest this Friday on the program Focus Nigeria. Thank you so very much, Otunba Dino Melaye.
The pleasure is always mine.
Dino is a former member of House of Reps. Today he is the Executive Secretary, Anti-Corruption Network. All right, we thank you for investing your time with us, particularly those of you who took the extra mile of sending in tweets to our Twitter handle and, of course, posting comments on our Facebook page. Thank you so very much. Do enjoy the weekend. I'll see you on Monday.
AIT, sharing the African experience.
All day rushing around outside in that heat. Now he'll say,
"You guys go. I'm too tired."
"Too tired?"
Dettol Cool.
Dettol Cool Soap. Dettol protection with the coolness of menthol that leaves you refreshed, invigorated, and cool.
And now she'll say,
"If I don't take care of him,
who will?"
Dettol. Be absolutely sure.
And they're off!
Oh, my throat is hurting bad. I think I need to brew a hot drink with honey and lemon.
You need a faster relief that lasts longer. Try Strepsils. Strepsils has the goodness of a home remedy with honey and lemon, relieving pain faster and for longer. Strepsils. First aid for sore throats.
Star Healthy Hands Lesson 3.
Do you know that the germs we pick up every day can make us ill? To stay healthy, we need to protect ourselves by washing our hands regularly. First, wet your hands and apply Dettol soap. Then rub your hands together. Scrub the front and back of your hands and scrub between fingers. Do these for about 20 seconds and rinse your hands well with running water.
Mom, today we learned how to fight germs with Dettol soap. Good health starts with healthy hands.
Television.
Independent Television.
AIT, sharing the African experience.
Threatening to cancel aid to countries that don't sign off on gay marriage.
You have joined us on today's episode of Tax Matters.
Will pay the tax, and the poor will benefit from the tax that the rich people are paying.
Economy, infrastructural development, education, language, currency, commodities. That's our business or global business. It's global business.